Alright, Lillla here with another commentary style video. I recently beat this extreme demon known as ChopStep by GiaMmiX, and I think it's really good and I can't recommend it enough. And to help some of you within the skill range actually beat this, I'm going to go through it in practice mode and show you which parts to practice, how to do each part, and all of that stuff. So this first chip is honestly really straightforward. If you are on 144 Hz or above, it should be pretty chill. I still recommend using 240 FPS bypass, just to make it a tad bit more consistent. But if your PC isn't good enough for that, I'm sure you'll still be able to get through this with no real hassle. Right, so this next part here, it's also pretty chill, just a couple of weird timings. It gets incredibly consistent, so if you don't really get it the first time, don't worry, you will just get this part down really quickly if you just keep playing, and it's really not a choke point when you know what you're doing. So with that ball orb, you want to click a bit in the middle, and then just kind of get lucky and start spamming around here. Make sure you click in this cube portal, and the last blue orb here is just a buffer timing. So you don't want to click too early, or you may go flying, jumping off the block. But yeah, if you just press that blue orb, you have quite a few frames to do it, so it should be no real issue. Right, so that first drop, it's pretty simple, but there's a couple of things you have to know, so I'll just go back real quick. So this first wave portal, you just hold. I like to press in the middle, since I've actually encountered a couple of bugs with this on high refresh rates, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter. And this next chip, probably one of the hardest parts of this first drop. I like to stay really high up, but you have to be careful of this big spike. Even though it moves, the hitbox always stays the same. So yeah, as you can see, the hitbox doesn't move, so you have to be very careful. Then you press this black orb pretty in the middle or high up, it doesn't really matter. But this UFO click can be pretty tough. You want to wait a bit after going into it, and then jump. You can't jump immediately or you'll be too high. Then this wave, pretty straightforward, 2 clicks. It can be pretty hard, but learning the click pattern, it gets very consistent, so don't be too worried. These orbs, again very simple, press the green orb late, black orb in the middle, and then this pink orb is just in the middle. And for this ship transition, I'd like to hold after this blue orb and to readjust myself. This wave, I just look at the bottom arrows really. I try to stay as low as possible, as to not hit this last spike. Since if you go too high, it's very easy to just do that, go up way too early. So try to stay low in this wave. And then this ship, it is pretty scary, but you won't really die to it when you reach max consistency. So just try and have a really straight path towards this portal, and then just basically hold after this. So this spider, it really messed me up when I first started playing this. But this first click is a buffer, and then this last one, you have to click pretty late. The beginning of the arrow is enough, you have to click very in the middle or like actually just late. Then this UFO, really hard click, but I guess it gets consistent. You just have to click very late on this dash orb. It looks very awkward, doesn't really sync. Probably one of the worst clicks in the level, but it's one of very few, so you'll be fine. So this wall is really easy. You press this blue orb late as to not hit these spikes. And then it doesn't really matter when you jump off this cube portal as long as you don't do it too early. And then this wave is actually a pretty big choke point, since the top part moves a bit, and the hitbox actually moves as well. And I believe that's the only example of the hitbox doing so. So just try and stay low in this wave, and you'll be fine. And this wave you just press a bit late, and then jump on the first frame where you hit the cube portal. This click is actually really hard to, since if you click too early you won't go anywhere. So yeah, and then now we're on into the drop, which looks like the most complicated part, but is by far the easiest in my opinion. So you just press this black orb, I think it's a buffer, yeah. This you have to press a little bit late, but it's very lenient. You have a lot of time to do so. You hold there, press this blue orb, light up this black orb, tap this arrow, and then hard tap this black orb before you buffer this next spike. So it sounds pretty complicated, but just look at my click indicator and you can tell what's going on really easily. Yeah, you have to buffer this as early as possible as well, as to not to hit this invisible spike here. If you don't do the last part correctly, you'll die to the last pixel of this invisible spike here, so keep that in mind. This next part, pretty simple. But you have to be aware of some of the timings. For instance, you click late on this first one, you hold on this green orb, which is honestly pretty hard to hit. I've missed this a couple times, it really sucks, so make sure you practice this part even though it looks very easy. And this wave, you can actually let go really early here, and then you can go down very early, since the hitbox is only at that blue part. You press this arrow, press this red orb, then you hold this next red orb, so the robot jumps up. You just look the ship, light up this blue orb, and then just do the ship. So yeah, I never look the robot in that part at all. I just hold the second red orb, light up the next orbs, and you're good. So this next part is probably one of the hardest, at least it used to be in the unearthed version. But this green orb, probably the weirdest part. You have to jump on the arrow and press it in the middle. Just some hard wave clicks, no real catch to it. This duel, however, very difficult, probably one of the hardest parts. You have to keep track of the wave on the arrows and try and press as late as possible, since if you go too quickly, even though you did the wave perfectly. And then you go early on the last arrow, as there are some invisible blocks there. Then this dash orb is weirdly a buffer, and this next black orb is also a buffer, before you get to do a really straightforward ship. And here, in this transition, you want to make sure you're not clicking. Stop holding your mouse after this last spike. If you click, you just die immediately. Like this. So just completely let go and let the transition carry into the next part. So this next part is actually one of my favorite parts of the entire level. There's a couple timings, but nothing too weird or complicated. So you have to press late as to not hit this saw, but it's a very lenient timing. Same with this, if you want to dodge the spikes. And this yellow orb, I actually died to a couple times. You have to press pretty late, so be aware of that. Then this wave is just really fun. It looks pretty hard. I died to it once. There's no real way to learn it. You just kinda have to do it, and it gets very consistent. And this next dash orb is a buffer when you hit the arrow. All of those, you just press somewhat late or in the middle. And this pink dash orb, you have to press in the middle, so you don't hit this spike. And I actually died here twice, which kind of sucks since they're not that hard of timings. And this shift click here is very weird, since it looks like you're going to hit this saw, and sometimes you do, you'll get consistent at it. So with this ball, you have to press in the middle of each blue orb. So you buffer this, and then it's just about hitting in the middle before you buffer this UFO portal. and click late on this red orb. Then it'll be very well aligned for this ship every time. There's no invisible slopes going into the ship, but there are some going out of it. If you go too high, you'll clip into this saw blade up here. Let go when you're past this last spike, then the transition will work itself. The next wave, click here. I only died there once, so you definitely can get consistent at it. And then on this mini portal, you want to press early, since if you press too long, actually, yeah, do that. Become cube right next to this spike and just clip into it and die. Press this early. This timing looks pretty easy. You can actually die to this. I have to press like slightly before the middle or in the middle. You can't press too late, can't press too early. And then this last 7% is probably one of the hardest parts of the level, especially this yellow orb. So you can't go too early, and if you go too late, the next ship will be very hard. So I just try to go a bit later than in the middle and hold. You can do this ship in only like 3 clicks. It's very consistent, like the ship itself, but this yellow orb is just impossible. So and then this arrow is a buffer, and you want to go low in this next wave. So you can go high in the last wave and line yourself up well for the last buffer. So yeah, there are some bugs here, so you definitely want to try and go high in the last one, and if you go too low in the first one, you'll just die as well. So yeah, that's pretty much the level. It's a lot, it's an extreme demon, it won't be easy, but I think it's really fun and really satisfying to do, and I hope I could just help you out somewhat if you do decide to go for this level, which I definitely recommend you do. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're going for this, good luck.